Initially, I was repairing broken things out of necessity because it's cheaper than buying new or hiring a professional. But lately, I've noticed that I get a deep sense of accomplishment as the motivating factor. Maybe it's because I'm over 40 and have some primal urge to impose my will upon the world around me. Maybe it's because I'm just too cheap to buy new stuff every time some late stage capitalism product falters. Maybe it's because the joy of fixing something that was previously broken is just too good of a feeling to pass up. It's probably a combination of all of that together. Now, before I describe the mechanical pickle that I'm in today, let me give you some backstory. I know most of the people that watch my films are just meeting me for the first time, so let me explain. A little over a decade ago, I was on a mission to understand spirituality, living barefoot deep in the jungle when the Honda CRV that I had sunk all my money into burnt an exhaust valve. I barely knew how to change my own oil, so contemplating pulling the cylinder head was a big deal. I researched for a few days and decided I had to grow as a man and learn the systems of the combustible engine, all before I had even changed so much as an alternator. A few weeks later, somehow I had fixed the old Honda. Fast forward to today. A few months ago, taking a leap of faith on this 32-year-old forest green Toyota pickup, full of rust and mechanical issues. I paid my friend to trailer it to my backyard and then promptly let it sit for a while, as you do. The first thing I had noticed was, of course, the oil was milkshake white. Water from the cooling system was mixing with the oiling system somehow. I assumed incorrectly that was because of a broken head gasket, allowing the two to meet up and party. Nope, turns out the timing cover was cracked because the timing chain slapped against it harder than Will Smith's hand on Chris Rock's face, all due to some old plastic timing chain guides failing and allowing the destruction to take place. So piece by piece, I tore everything apart until the engine block was bare, naked, and afraid. I replaced the lower end bearings. I stuffed the wheel bearing grease into all the metal on metal areas to ensure that the first startup doesn't sound like a bag of nails. And then I realized that wheel bearing grease does not dissolve with heat and oil and would actually clog up all the oiling parts and ports and holes. And I needed to take it apart and clean all that out. So I have to go backwards in order to go forwards. But hey, that's the price you pay for being a YouTube mechanic. Welcome to the channel. Subscribe if you haven't already. Let's get into it. I made a massive mistake, and thank you to Eddie's Toyota for commenting immediately and saying, hey man, the video just came out, you can't use grease on the bearings on the crank or anything like that. It'll just clog up everything and cause catastrophic engine failure. I Googled it after reading that, and he's right, that's true. So I now have to backtrack on everything that I've done on this motor, break it all the way down to the block again, clean everything, and reassemble again to get back to where I am now. You know, that's what this channel is about, is learning as we go, making mistakes, and that's okay, that's part of it. You know, I am self-taught. This is how people like me learn. I'm just super excited that I put this on the internet so that pros like you guys can catch my mistakes and say, hey man, like actually it's this way, the other way. Otherwise I would have run this motor and it probably would have blown up, burned out, and it would have been an actual big failure. Whereas like this is just gonna waste me some time, not that big a deal. So let's learn from the mistake. I hope you learn from my mistake. Assembly lube only, engine oil only if it's gonna be immediate. Well, I'm glad that I'm ripping everything apart again because I found that here in the set of bearings, I've already got scratches, and that's not good. It's just the crank ones. You know, when I first had it apart, I was like, oh, should I polish this thing? But I don't know how to polish it, and I didn't want to damage it by doing something wrong. But yeah, there's this stuff which must have gotten worked when the thing lost lubrication the first time. And so I do think I need to polish it, otherwise I'm just gonna ruin these bearings. Now those scratches, you know, that's too bad, but it's not the end of the world, but I think, you know, I don't want it to get worse. So I'm kind of wondering if I could scratch at this thing without ruining it. So I'm gonna look up how to do that. Let's just polish the crank, play it safe, and use proper assembly lube this time. All right, let's keep going. All right, so I spent some time polishing the crank, and I'm glad I did. I got a lot buffed out. The journals aren't perfect. Like, there's definitely still some areas where you can see, because of the previous owner running this with the milkshake oil, that there's a couple of points on there that I don't think I'm gonna get out, but I do think that it's good. I pulled everything apart and had the opportunity to do this because it's much better than it was. Okay, well, I'm cracking right along on getting this thing back together. I'm just gonna lower it down again, and let's get the head attached now that the whole front end, back, pan, pistons are in. We just need to put the cylinder head back on and go from there. Okay, now that I've got the front all together, I'm gonna start to focus on the back of the motor here. We can start to put together the flywheel and the clutch. Back plate looks fresh, huh? Nobody's really gonna ever see it again, but I know it looks nice. If you haven't already been following along, you might be under the impression that I'm putting on new stuff, but the reality is, previous weeks, I've just been cleaning and rebuffing as I go here. Let's clean up these bolts really quick. We're gonna have to go up to 80, so I'm just gonna start at 40. All right, now we've got a flywheel. It seems silly and ridiculous, but it works. This is the bread trick. It's to get out the bearing from the back of the motor, called the pilot bearing. which is where the transmission slots into. First step is find a bolt that's exactly or very close to the inner radius of the bearing so that it fits in pretty snug. Step 2, get the end piece of your loaf of bread, because nobody wants the end piece, and rip it up and start to shove it into the center and behind this bearing. Essentially, all we're doing is forcing material behind the bearing to push the bearing out. I'm not sure why organic bread works so much better, but it really does. Best yet, if you can get something homemade. Whew. Sourdough, homemade sourdough, pops these right out. There she goes. Just like that, the bread trick evicts yet another pilot bearing. Ta-da! Now, after you get that all cleaned out and all over the ground, you go ahead and get yourself a nice socket that has the exact outer diameter of your bearing. And that way, when you tap this thing in, you're just hitting this outer casing and not the inner stuff. So let's tap it in. Brand new pilot bearing installed. Uh-oh. This diameter's wrong. This thing's nowhere close. Oh man, I got the wrong clutch. Come on. Old one. New one. Oh yeah, way smaller. I hope it's not been too long since I ordered that. What I didn't realize is the 22RE in 1994 had two different clutches. One is for the two-wheel drive version, one is for the four-wheel drive version. And, well, yeah, as you've now deduced, I bought the two-wheel drive and own the four-wheel drive. So, luckily, I'm just going to return that, and they have one in town. So, I've just got to pay a little extra, but I can get it today. So, I want to keep cracking along and be able to start this motor in this video. So, we're going to need a brand new clutch kit to do that. All right, now before everything goes back in, I'm going to swap out this carrier bearing, which goes on here and acts as your little clutch shifter. This is the fork. When you put on the clutch, you end up pressing on this, and so This little bearing can go bad over time. It's good to change while you're in here, and it comes with the clutch kit, so let's get that swapped in. I noticed on this motor that they put the fuel filter in a really inconvenient place. It's not like way back on a rail. It's like tucked in on the bottom of the motor on top of this front diff. It's terrible. So I got a new one just because, yeah, while I'm in here and it's easy, might as well do it while it's easy. So we'll get this swapped out. Another thing I'd like to replace is these fuel injectors. They're looking a little worse for wear. So I got a new set. It'll be nice to have freshies, know that they're clean, functional, and all the seals will work and everything like that. All right, I got the motor in. That was a lot. It's so hard to do on your own. But it's in. I got the motor mounts all cinched down, a couple other things, but I am gonna take a break because this feels like a huge milestone right now. The motor is back in the truck. Now it's just odds and ends, putting it all back together. We still have a table full of parts over there. One step closer to hearing this thing run. Let's go.
Oh, my baby's trying to jump from my arms.
Well, it's been super wet and dreary here today so far this morning. So instead I'm gonna switch to swapping out the belt for my air compressor. Let's quick throw it on here so we have an air compressor and we can blow stuff up. I just need to crack this off. Oh. Okay. Come on, go on. Yes. All right, moment of truth. There we go. I ended up kind of damaging some of the plastics when I was getting this off because whatever. Yeah, good enough. So I think the best way to tackle this is going to be starter, fuel, filter, lower intake, fuel rail, upper intake, and then exhaust, power steering, and the rest of it. I'm pretty sure the power steering pump is what was leaking all of the sludge. So I'm gonna get this cleaned up, spray it down, and see if it's just a minor seal when it does end up working again. So cleaning that. But yeah, let's start down here with the starter, get this intake side built up, and then that'll all be sealed off and I can worry less about dropping stuff into the motor. So when I was putting this part of the truck back together, I had this very zen moment where I realized just how much patience, how much determination, how much ongoing focus that it takes to tackle a project like this. And it reminds me of Zen, of meditation. Because when you're meditating, you're sitting there and you're focused, you're watching how your body feels, and you're watching thoughts pass over your mind. And in the same way, when you're wrenching, you're being very Zen-like. You're focused on exactly what's happening in front of you. There's not much distraction, and at least for me. So, I don't know, just something I thought I'd share that, to me, anyone who's a mechanic or wrenches at length like this, I see Zen mastery. Well, it's back together. I've disconnected the EFI fuse and the coil, so we should be getting no spark, no fuel. I'm just gonna crank it over for a while and have it build oil pressure before actually connecting gas and spark. So let's see if the starter still works. Let's see if she spins over easy. Here we go. Just realized that I haven't put in the clutch slave cylinder either, so I should probably go attach that really quick. But you can hear it run. It's in neutral. It's a runner, it's a running. Got oil pressure, but I turned it off really quick because the power steering pump sounded terrible. I am just gonna take off the power steering pump belt really quick. Okay, I tightened down the fan shroud and some other small fan bolts, and so it should sound better now. And I attached the slave cylinders, so I'm gonna test the clutch really quick too. Clutch works. Fan is much quieter, the motor is much quieter. It developed a funny surge there for a second, so I'll have to check and see what's going on there, but it's running. It's running. So I've really been wanting to clean the ground underneath where that truck's been for the last month, so I'm gonna take it on its inaugural drive to the front yard. We're driving, we're doing it. Let's put some water in this cooling system. This thing is so cool. We did it, success. We got the motor rebuilt, installed, and running, driving, testing great. It has some minor stuff I still want to attend to, but overall, I'm very excited. Now I just need to see what to do with the truck. What do you guys think I should do with this classic Toyota now that it's back running and driving and healthy again? I kind of like it. There's a lot we could do. Put a comment down, tell me what you think would be exciting, fun to see happen with this classic pickup. Thank you guys so much for hanging out to the very end, commenting, subscribing, doing all the things, hitting all the buttons. I appreciate you so much. We will see you next week.